The Appdynamics community has gone through a major refresh. In the past 6 months, we've been creating new sections, adding a new navigation, a whole lot of new content, and focusing on technical enablement. And what I want to show you today is some of the new content and sections that I'm speaking about. So first, you may notice that the top navigation is a little bit different. We have only 3 verbs that you can execute on: explore, learn, collaborate. If you go to the Explorer, you'll see that there's App Cyclopedia. It's our new supported platform showing you the breadth of supported platforms that we have in Appdynamics. And then Appdynamics Exchange, which has all of our extensions in it. There's 60 of those now. And User Articles, which is like a technical blog focused on users in the Appdynamics community. In the Learn section, we have Appdynamics University, Customer Enablement, which helps to onboard customers with getting started guides and step-by-step instructions on how to install and scale Appdynamics. You also find the documentation in there. And then Collaborate has our original discussion boards. There's Pro, there's Trial, and there's Lite. And then we have a new thing called Appdynamics Ideas. And for SEs, you can see that there's a FES area there, Field Engineering Zone. And we have some new widgets on the front page here, and they get updated once a week, sort of showcasing different sections of the community, such as some new courses, some ideas, new exchange elements, new extensions, and so on. Plus, we also show some learning bites on the front here, and then a live widget showing the recent activity. So let's take a look at App Cyclopedia. As you can see, when you go into App Cyclopedia, we've divided things up by language, type, software provider, and product name alphabetical. And if you scroll down a little bit, you can see that we have about 60 of those fully published. And what one of them looks like is this. It takes you down to a detail page, which gives you some screenshots of what these different platforms look like when they're properly discovered within Appdynamics. And so, for instance, this is a metric dashboard for the Microsoft messaging queue platform. And when you click it, it zooms up and you can see a detail of our annotations. Well, it doesn't stop there. I mean, you can actually go and sort things different ways. You can index by a language, Java. Let's look at all the Java stuff. You have caches, remote services, application servers, SOA elements, and messaging servers. We divide databases into NoSQL and SQL, or databases in NoSQL, and then we have our web frameworks. So if you go to one of these, you'll see that this is the Enterprise Java Beans framework, and how maybe the flow map looks when you first come up, showing you the calls per minute, the response, the auto discovery of the various tiers and nodes, and the node health right there. So this is an easy way to see what it's going to look like when Appdynamics has properly discovered your supported platforms. So that's App Cyclopedia. This is a great thing to experiment around with and to see how we've divided things up. Like we have a bunch of remote services, or we have our messaging servers. And these will get added to on a regular basis, so you'll see this grow. The next thing I'd like to show you is the Exchange, which is where we have our extensions. Now, most of these extensions are created by us, but some of them can be created by you or by partners. And when you first come in, you'll see that there's a set of categories here. This is constantly growing. As we get more categories and more extensions, we'll just extend this list. But this is how you filter by category. If you click this, you'll see this is one type. Cloud Connector has 8 of them. There are 7 big data items and 10 alerting. And by far the largest category is monitoring. So one of the things you can see when you look at this summary page is how many times this particular extension was downloaded. So every time somebody clicks this button, we know who did it and we know which one they looked at. And You can even give it ratings. So one thing you'll find when you go into one of the extensions is that it leaves you some room to comment on it. And so if you've been going through one of these extensions and you have some issues you want to raise, you can always just go in like a discussion thread and just start creating comments. But another really great thing of this is when you go back to the showcase page for extensions, you'll see that we have the total number of downloads for extensions, and you can also sort by name or date updated. Another really great thing is that if you want to publish an extension, you just click this button, and it takes you right into an editor which allows you to create the post. We've automatically furnished labels for you to use so that they get sorted out correctly. Another thing is that you may not want to make your own extension, or you may find that there's not an extension here that you want, and what you can do is request one from us and we'll actually talk to you about building it for you. Selecting this, it takes you to our request form. Plus there's also a document on how to build an extension. By clicking this right here, build an extension, it takes you to a document that explains using a REST API or building a cloud auto-scaling extension or an alerting extension. These are fairly straightforward things for software engineers, so you shouldn't have any trouble figuring out what to do. Another really great thing is that all of our source code for our extensions are open source and we store them in GitHub. So when you go into an extension, you'll see that there's a link to the GitHub repo for the extension right here. And when you click that, it takes you to our extension area within GitHub. It's pretty cool. So that's extensions. We definitely should see if there's something in there that you're interested in. And we encourage you to try and build your own. A new feature that we've added is user articles. They're kind of like technical blogs, but they're focused on users and technology that the users are familiar with. So we have one in here about proactive monitoring, another one about setting browser snapshot performance thresholds for EUM, and as time goes by we'll be adding some more. These are by PMs right now, product managers, but they will eventually be submitted by you. Now over on the Learn side, we have Appdynamics University. Some of you may have seen this already. This gives you access to our course catalog, sign up for private classes, go to the accelerator, or take individual learning bites, and give you snippets of knowledge on the product, which is very helpful. You also can see who the instructors are that we have at the company, and jump from here into our documentation. So Appdynamics University is growing and expanding, and eventually we will have access to the entire course catalog. You'll be able to browse it here and select courses to take. Another new feature is customer enablement. Customer enablement is how we bring new users online, how we get them onboarded, and we have steps for them to go through. So it's based on the number of nodes that you have set up in your application. So type 1 is up to 5 nodes, and you can see that there's before you start, there's install, there's configure, use, advance, and then you could jump to the next one. But all throughout this process, we give you links to real content, and we show you a path to getting yourself going and becoming an expert in Appdynamics APM. So we really recommend that you self-select the area that you think you belong in and examine it. See what it's all about. So in Collaborate, we still have our discussion boards that we've always had. Right now, they're Appdynamics Pro, Pro Trial, Lite, and some private boards and so on. But you can always see what the recent topics are, and you can click View All, and it'll show you by date all of the most recent posts. You can find something that is in your area of interest that way. Another thing in Collaborate is a new thing called Appdynamics Ideas. And right now there are no new ideas because this is so new, but we expect everybody to give us feature requests and ideas for future versions of our product, things that they'd like to see us support, more stuff to add to our out-of-the-box supported platforms. We monitor this pretty closely in product management and engineering, and when we see any ideas we go through and we curate them. So it'll never be sitting there getting stale. We'll always let you know what we're doing with the idea and as it moves through our idea funnel. So try that out. There's one really cool thing that we have, which is unified search. If you search in this upper bar here, you'll see what it'll go through everything on the community, and it'll search our documentation repository on Confluence. It even just searches usernames and discussions. So the search results page lets you see all the different places that have been searched for the search string, but you can also filter out and filter certain time periods. So if you wanted to just focus on Appcyclopedia and rerun that search, it'll just give you stuff where Java shows up in the Appcyclopedia. Or you can have it go through and just use documentation. Let's narrow it to Appdynamics Pro 3.7, hit search again, and what we should get is we should get stuff from 3.7. So you can see that it shows you where it came from here. So this is pretty handy. This is doing cross-platform search, and it's very fast. It's thorough. I mean, you could do it over the last month. So these are the things that have been put into the documentation area based on the search term Java for the past month. And I think it's pretty handy. It's something you should try out. So that's pretty much everything that's new on AppSphere. I strongly urge you to spend some time in this community. Tell your colleagues to spend some time. It's going to enrich your Appdynamics user experience and make you into an expert in no time. Thanks.